What's up, guys? My name is Zach, and this week I've been driving the 2023 Chrysler Pacifica Touring L all-wheel drive with the Road Tripper package. Up front is a 3.6-liter V6, and down below is a 9-speed automatic transmission. Now, I'm super excited to be making this video because I've spent the last 8 days driving this car, just under 500 miles in this van, and I am excited to share my experiences with you today. Some good, some bad, some indifferent, and some rather interesting. And so, buckle up because this might be a long one. But if you'd like to share your vehicle with me, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form, takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 3.6-liter V6 under the hood. Well, it makes 287 horsepower, and it's a V6 that Chrysler, Stellantis, Dodge, Ram, whatever you want to call it, they have used for a very, very long time, starting in the mid-2000s. And so there's a big benefit to that because it's a well-worked-through engine. Any of the flaws were going to pop up originally, and these engines have been known to go hundreds of thousands of miles, and any issue is easily fixable because the company's been using it for so long. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 9-speed automatic transmission. They haven't been using them as long as that engine, but it's fine. It's been shifting quietly, it's been in the background doing its job, and that's all I can ask it to do. Last but not least, this particular Pacifica is all-wheel drive. However, you can still find them in front-wheel drive if that's something you would like to seek out. So how does it feel to actually drive the Pacifica? Well, it drives like a van. It is longer than you really think, and although this is the Touring L, it's actually the same wheelbase as any other Pacifica. There's no short or long wheelbases for the Chrysler minivans anymore, like there used to be in the late 90s. Visibility is really good. All of the controls are really easy. It's just big, which is to be expected with a vehicle like this, but I would feel confident that anyone in my friends or family could drive this vehicle without too much of an issue. However, I do want to talk about fuel economy. So that's the big question on everyone's mind, and it is not stellar. After the road trip yesterday and over the entire course of my time with the Chrysler Pacifica, I have averaged 20.9 miles to the gallon. Now, it's not awful. Around town, I was averaging about 19.4, and on my road trip yesterday, I actually ended up getting around 23.5 miles to the gallon on the highway, which was keeping up with traffic, not trying to hypermile or push mileage as much as I could. That was just me driving as I would any other car on the highway. 23.5, which isn't terrible, but it's also not stellar. I did have to fill it up with gas the other day, and it was 16 gallons, which really hurt. But it's to be expected in a vehicle like this, and Chrysler does offer a hybrid option, which gets way better fuel economy. So if that's important to you, you can move up to the Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid, which I would highly, highly recommend. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have some physical gauges along with a screen. Off to the left is my tachometer, off to the right is my speedometer, and then in the center, I do get a digital screen that I can swipe through a bunch of different things. I do like putting it on the digital speedometer, and something to note is that the speedometer will show you every mile an hour as you accelerate. A lot of cars will skip if you're accelerating rather fast. Stellantis products don't, and I really love that they don't do that. I think on some of the screens there's a lot going on, which can kind of be a little weird to look at, but I do really like that you can show both Trip A and Trip B odometers at the same time. Most cars do not allow you to do that, so a nice little feature for the Pacifica. On the steering wheel on the left, I do have my selectors for that gauge cluster screen, as well as phone options and voice commands. And off to the right, I have my cruise control. So this does have traditional cruise control as well as adaptive cruise control. It's actually set with 2 different buttons. So if you want traditional, you can have traditional, which I don't know why you would, but you can. The adaptive cruise is okay. It was a little bit jerky on acceleration and deceleration if someone comes into your lane. It's not the smoothest system I've ever featured, but it does have adaptive cruise, so I'll quit my complaining. Around the back of the steering wheel, you do have buttons for volume and skip track. You can't see them from where you're sitting, so you'll have to remember which is which, and in my entire time, 8 days with this car, I never figured out which was which. I always hit the left one a couple times, hit the right one a couple times, see what changed, and adjusted myself from there. So, a little annoying, but a nice feature. The overall steering wheel does feel nice. I am a big fan of that. And off to the left, I have a climate control vent, my headlight switches, and my gauge dimmer switches. Moving out of the door, I have 2 memory seat options, my power mirrors, power windows, and power locks. Moving into the center, I do get a very, very nice center display with a couple of very nice features. First of all, we'll talk about the camera systems. There are 2 separate camera systems, one for the inside, one for the outside. The outside, the surround camera, is a 360 bird's eye view camera, as well as, of course, front and rear cameras. Very, very nice for maneuvering this vehicle into tight spots. Took it out to dinner with my girlfriend the other night. We were parking in a downtown area, and so I relied on these cameras pretty heavily to not hit any of the vehicles around me as I tried to park in a very tight spot. The other camera system is called the Fam Cam, and that's an interior infrared camera, so you can see at night and keep an eye on anyone sitting in the back. This feature was also really nice if you have any cargo in the back, so you can make sure it doesn't shift or anything while you're driving. Very, very cool feature that I wish were in more vehicles. This does also have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and I can run some climate controls through here, although I don't have to, which is fantastic. I love that I don't have to, but I have the option to. The overall sound system is okay. When I turned up the bass, it did sound a little rattly, so if you are a big sound system fan, I would recommend seeking out your own upgrades, which there are plenty of. The base Pacifica system just isn't phenomenal. Moving past that screen, we do have a bunch of buttons here for the parking assist, parking sensors on and off, our lane departure on and off, auto start stop on and off, traction control on and off, mute, hazard, and screen off. And then we have our climate controls as well. So we do get dual zone up front, which is really, really nice to see. And I like how clean and concise they are here on the dash. And off to the left, this is where we'll find our rotary dial shifter. One thing I really do like is that when you do turn it all the way to drive, there is a sort of lockout, so you're not going to be accidentally tossing it into low all the time. Moving down below, we do have 2 USB-Cs, 2 USB-As, and an aux in, as well as a little cubby off to the left. I use this as a shelf for my phone pretty much most of the time, and it worked great. Then we do have another rear USB and our DVD Blu-ray player, which we'll talk about with the rear seat infotainment. Then we do get a big pop-out cubby with some coin holders in it. Really, really like that. That's been very useful, and something fantastic about the Pacifica is all the different cubbies to put your stuff in. Down on the floor, we do have a 12-volt outlet that only works when the vehicle is on, and we do get a fun little Easter egg of the previous Chrysler vans shown here like they do in the Ram trucks. I like that little note to their past. With a big solid cubby here, if you're getting drive-through food, this is the perfect size to put it while driving, so it's nice, toasty, and safe by the time you get home. Then I do have a little pocket, and moving up onto the center console, we do have cup holders. So we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the Chrysler Pacifica, and I'm excited to report that it does, in fact, with flying colors, pass the big friggin' bottle test. Then we do get this openable cubby. Again, more storage space. Love to see that. And then we'll talk about the seats. The seats are heated, which is really, really nice, and the driver's seat is memory and power, all of which are very nice features to see, especially because this isn't the top trim of the Pacifica. That would be the pinnacle, of which this is not. So, very, very lovely to see that stuff here. However, we do have 2 more rows of seating, so let's go do some backseat reviews. All right, so we're in the back of the 2023 Chrysler Pacifica Touring L all-wheel drive with the Road Tripper package. There's a lot going on back here. First of all, I do get captain's chairs, which are really, really nice. I tend to prefer captain's chairs. However, you can find a bench if you'd like to option one. And the seats themselves are pretty comfortable. I do have screens that pop out of the front seats, which is really, really nice. I can plug in HDMI, aux, things like that. Really, really fantastic. And these seats are heated as seen on the door. Speaking which, I do have fully power doors, one touch button here, and they are power folding. I grew up with manual sliding doors, so this is still a very cool and fun feature for me. In the doors, we do get sunshades for the little ones, or the big ones, and we do have pop-out cup holders up front, that comes out of the front center console. Down below, we have even more storage. This is the stow and go system, which folds up and you could put tons of stuff down here. I really love this system. I think it's a fantastic idea. I wish more vans did it. I also do get to enjoy this beautiful sunroof, and I do have my own temperature control up on the ceiling over here, so I could set the rear temperature back here. I get vents. We're getting there. Over my left shoulder, I have a vacuum, so I can pull this out. There it is. There's the button. Give you some really good ASMR. Oh! 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 The vacuum was actually super helpful. As I'll talk about later, I actually took this to the Indiana Dunes National Park, which is very sandy, as the title might suggest. And so cleaning our stuff off, fantastic. Cleaning up all the sand in here. Not that I got a lot of sand in here. Don't worry, Chrysler. I didn't fill it with sand. Cleaning up all the little stuff in here, the vacuum has been fantastic. On the other side over there, we do get a wall outlet, which is really nice to see. So, I was complaining about the stow and go system. When the door is open, and if no one's in the driver's seat, there's a button down here I just discovered that will actually move the driver's seat forward to fully access the stow and go. So, never mind. That's actually way less aggravating than I thought it was going to be. Very, very cool, and we'll close that up. Now, I think we should be good with this little surrounding area, but now let's hop into the third row. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, this is why minivans will remain superior. I'm 5'11". I'm not a small guy. I am sitting up straight and my head is not even coming close to the ceiling. My knees are not coming close to the seat, and this is my normal second row seating position. If I were sitting in the second row, this is where I'd leave it comfortably. And now in the third row, I'm sitting back here comfortably. It's fantastic. It's the best. It's wonderful. Over here, I do have a USB-C and USB-A chargers. So kids back here, adults back here can charge their devices. It's the best. It's just so flippin' good. Let's hop out. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. Don't worry, we're getting there. All right, around the back of the Chrysler Pacifica Touring L all-wheel drive. Pop it open like that. And a couple of things to note. First of all, this is where our tailgate button is. I don't love that because I feel like I have to hit it and then run away in order to avoid it. This is a pretty freaking big door. And so when I do hit the button on the back, I do have to take a step back before it opens because it will hit you in the face. Anyway, 12-volt outlet back here, and this is actually where the filter for the shop vac is. So as you can see, the sand that I sucked up from the dunes is all back here. So we can actually empty that out and put it back. Pop that up like that. Bada bing, bada boom, very clean. Now you do get a pretty deep trunk back here, which I really, really love, but that is where the rear seats go. So pull this, then pull this, and in they go. Number one. Number two. There we go. Now, besides my sunscreen, this is a completely flat loading floor, which is fantastic and is so flippin' usable. If you want to use this as a cargo van, be my guest. If you want to use this as a van, fold the seats up, be my guest. Whatever you want to do, and that is lovely to see in the back of the Chrysler Pacifica. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I really do like this gray color. I'll put the name of it up on the screen. It's escaping me at the moment. And this does have the Road Tripper package, which is mostly an appearance package. It grays out the wheels, door handles, mirror caps. You get the Road Tripper badging, so it's mostly appearance. You do get some features, but I think it's kind of funny. It's kind of goofy, the Road Tripper, but it is what it is. I also do really love the light bar that goes across the back of the Pacifica. I think that's a really nice touch. But with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think, having driven the Chrysler Pacifica Touring L all-wheel drive for the last 8 days? Well, I've really enjoyed my time with it. There are a couple of little annoyances that I have with it. Some interior stuff. The interior really feels like it's from 2016, which the Pacifica is not a spring chicken at the moment. It's not a brand new model, so it's kind of to be expected. But if I know anything about Dodge and Chrysler, they usually run a little bit on the outdated side. So if you want cutting edge tech, this might not be the van for you. However, let's focus on that last word, van. There's been a lot of hubbub and guff about minivans recently. People really dislike them. People view the minivan as a failure. If you're a dad driving a minivan, something went terribly wrong. But that's not the case. Something has actually gone incredibly right, and he or she has purchased the perfect vehicle. Here's the honest truth, and this is the most brutal I'll get here on the Shooting Cars channel. If your top priority is your children and making their and your life easier, then the minivan is the only and best option. And if you start to say, well, then your top priority is not making your life easy, and your top priority is not your children. That's just the way it is. If you have a boat and you need to tow it, then yes, get a Tahoe, get a Suburban, get an Escalade, whatever. But if you have kids or multiple people and you want your life to be as easy and simple and pain-free as possible, the minivan is the way to go. The third row can actually support real adults. The storage down below is fantastic, and the storage throughout the entire vehicle is fantastic. I drove this vehicle out to the Indiana Dunes yesterday on a little road trip with my girlfriend, and we fit everything we needed in the back. It was comfortable. It was spacious. We had all of our cubbies up front to put our sunscreen and aloe vera, and there's a secure spot I could put my wallet so I didn't accidentally walk into the lake with it in my pocket. I've been known to do that many a time. It's all-wheel drive, so you're gonna have a little bit better peace of mind in inclement weather. I took my friends out to play with remote control cars, and the space in the back was so perfect for what we were doing. It made life easier. The minivan makes life easier. They're not particularly stylish, although I think the Pacifica is the best styled minivan on the market, at least externally. It's not going to win you any cool points at the next lacrosse meet or anything like that, but it is a tool, and it is a very well crafted tool. It is going to do what you need it to do. It is going to help you in a bunch of situations, and it is going to be the perfect base camp for whatever adventure you're going to go on. It just is the best. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Chrysler for sending me this vehicle for the week. I am so excited to start bringing you Stellantis press cars. I have another one lined up in the future that I'm excited to share with you all. And I have to give a huge shout out to Kelly from Stellantis, not only for organizing this review, but for just being an awesome down-to-earth person. She's one of the kindest people in the industry, and I'm so thankful that I know her. So huge thank you to Kelly. As well as thank you to G. Schmidt for organizing the delivery of this vehicle, and of course the Midwestern Automotive Media Association for just being fantastic and connecting all of the necessary dots. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.